So welcome back, guys. Now we've actually created our connect code and it works perfectly. Let's just go ahead and store this information into our table that we created in the database. So let's go back to our form right here and let's just go do away with this. Okay, let's just leave this right here, and we actually need this. So let's create variable that we actually hold this value. Let's create a variable called name, and right here let's create a variable called sex. Now this variable are actually holding these values right here. Now we need to actually include the database connection we made. So let's just go ahead and say include. You can also use the require function. It actually depends on you, and this will be include.php. So hopefully this makes sense. Now when you use include, is just like you're taking a whole bunch of code from a different page. Now when I use include db.php, I've actually taken all the codes within this db.php and actually put it right here. So it's a very cool way of not actually having to write your code all over again. So that's what include actually does. And right here, if we should go over to form.php, and you can see we're not getting any error, but we have the db.php right in this page right now. So to actually save these informations, let's just go ahead and say let's create a variable called SQL, because we're actually going to save into the database. You can call this whatever you want, and we're going to use a very simple syntax, which is insert into. So there are basically like four codes that you can write with your MySQL, which is the insert, the update, the delete, and the select. But for now, we're going to be writing the insert, and this is actually how the syntax is. So insert into users, because this is the name of the table. We have the table right here, which is users. So we want to insert into these users, and this will be the keys. And right here we want to add values, and this will be the values. So basically this is how the syntax should be. And right here in our database, in the table, we have just the name and the sex. So we're going to say name and sex. So hopefully this makes sense to you, and we're going to have their values right here. So just follow the syntax when you're creating your own application. So this will be sex, $sex. So we created this command, and we store it into this variable. So the next thing we can actually do is to actually run that command. Okay, so let's just go ahead and run that command, and let's just say $save. So we need to actually save that command right now, and we can also save go to $sonawap. So if you remember, we actually create a new instance of this MySQL object or class and put it into this variable. So this variable has access to all the methods within this class. So if you don't get it now, when we start writing object programming, you're actually going to understand this better. So this will be query. So because we need to actually query this code, and right here we're going to say $SQL, and this actually what we need to do to actually save this information into our database. So let's just go ahead and do a refresh. we're not getting any error. So let's just say this is Paul Shalamosis, and right here we're going to say female and submit. So we're not getting any message and we're not getting any error. The reason why we're not getting any message is because we're not showing any message to the user. So if we can just say if $save is true, that means if this actually works perfectly, there is no error, we can now echo user data saved. So you can actually echo this out. So let's just check our database and our table right now. You can see the name and the sex of the person. So let's just create one more, and let's just say Alex, and Alex is actually a guy, so it's a man, a male. So let's click save, and you can see that information user data saved. So if we should refresh, you can see this ID keeps increasing, and you can see the name and the sex of the person. So that's how to actually insert a record into your table. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to retrieve data from your table. So I'll see you next video, guys.